Howdy ho, everybody. I am Donut. I'm here with my fiance.
Termites.
I have seen South Park up to season 20-something.
I'm watching Blinds.
This is, of course, a Black Lives Matter, all cops are bastards, and trans race supporting channel. If you don't like that, get the fuck out of here. This is South Park season... I was about to say season 1.
Season 5.
Season 5, episode 4. Scott Tenorman must die.
Oh boy.
Any predictions?
I mean, the character I think is the most killy character in the cast is Cartman. So I guess it's gotta be a Cartman wants to kill Scott Tenorman for some reason. I don't know who that is. That might be a celebrity. That might be an original character.
It is not a celebrity. I'll say that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I assume then it is some sort of perceived slight, like he says, I'm gonna fuck your mom, and he actually fucks his mom.
Okay.
And then Cartman's like, well, I'm gonna kill you because you fucked my mom.
Alright. Well, welcome to South Park.
Yeah.
This is the start of South Park. Legitimately. This is the turning point of the series. Like, this is, if you were to say South Park, this is the episode people think of.
I can imagine. It felt iconic all the way through.
Oh yeah, I'm giving this one 11 out of 10. I'm breaking the scale. It goes above and beyond.
In that case, I'll settle with a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I'm not even sure if this is my favorite episode, but I do think it is the funniest episode by far.
Okay.
Especially, you know, it was so funny to me because I know you're watching this for the first time. Yeah. As a rewatch, knowing all the jokes, it might not be as funny, but I enjoyed it so much watching it with you. Watching this for the first time is incredible.
Yes.
And it really had that same impact for me going back through all these episodes up to this point. I mean, it is such an insane ending.
It is. The only thing that is even slightly close is Wendy sending that one teacher into the sun.
Yeah, that's about as close as we got. And that was very, like, cartoony played off.
Yeah.
This was so elaborately set up and so, like, they spent the whole episode characterizing Scott before doing that. And it really, I think, solidifies Cartman as a character and the type of character he is. He has towed the line with being a bad kid or an evil kid or whatever, but like this is above it. This is there's no stepping back from this.
Like up to this point, he has been maybe one of those sympathetic boys in the sense that he does the worst things, but he's also like sometimes one of the best. So actually, one of the most innocent, I should say.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. One of the most innocent or ignorant or whatever.
Yeah, but yeah, this is definitely a turning point. Holy crap.
Yeah, and it really, I do think it does continue to set up just like, Cartman is generally very stupid, but when he, like, he can put his mind to a plan and, like, execute something really well. He's very manipulative, but I do like that, you know, a lot of people, I think, classify Cartman as being this, like, mastermind thing, when he is very, very dumb.
Right.
You know, he's just very good at manipulation. I don't even know if he's very good at manipulation. He's just very good at knowing how things are gonna play out once he figures it out. Like, but even then, I don't think he's very good at manipulation.
Yeah, like he's very, like, anytime he's doing anything 1v1 with someone else, it's usually very bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I guess it is, like, if there's a buffer in between there. Like, if he's able to, like, call someone or set something up, it works a lot better.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. What was your favorite joke in this episode?
Oh, boy.
I mean, we have to exclude the ending, you know.
Of course, yeah.
Excluding the ending.
Excluding the ending? I think it might have been Scott sending Cartman all the way to, I don't even remember where it was.
Fort Collins.
Yeah, Fort Collins.
Yeah, that was good. I don't know what is the best. There's so many good ones. Yeah. The Ned like just jerking, saying I can't stop jerking it. That was like my favorite. So good. This episode also, we've had plenty of episodes where we've had one A plot, but this one was straight up, it is just, we're following Cartman the entire time, nothing else happens. Even when we have an A plot, it's usually like, okay, well, we'll have the A plot happening from this perspective and this perspective. But no, like, this was all Cartman.
I mean, I guess we cut a little bit. Like, we saw, you know, the rest of the boys warning...
warning Scott?
Yeah, warning Scott.
But that was like a... immediately following into the Cartman. I guess it's not always following Cartman, but the whole episode was a cat and mouse game between Cartman and Scott.
Sure.
And, like, them calling Scott was only them playing off of Cartman's plan that he started.
Okay, fair.
So I would still call that a Cartman action.
Okay.
Because Cartman did that hoping they would do that.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. Man, this episode also, like, has been playing off of the sort of underlying character plotline we've had with Cartman of wanting to be the most mature of the boys.
Yeah.
Which I can't say when it's exactly started, but I think the earliest I can remember is the like with Stan going to Jesus and Eric saying that he had his period. What was that episode? Are you there, God? It's me, Jesus.
Right.
That episode, Eric was like having, he's like, I had my period and I'm now the most mature out of all of us, and then we've had that again recently in the or was that just last episode actually that he said I got pubes. Or something like that. Like, I'm gonna get pubes. He mentioned pubes last episode, I believe.
Okay.
But I can't remember actually what it was.
Huh.
But he did. Yeah. It's been a reoccurring thing that we've, had going.
Okay.
I just really appreciate, I have not seen it now until, like, this, third, fourth rewatch I'm doing of the show, where I'm seeing how much continuity there is between all this stuff. Let me check my notes. Do you have anything else you want to say about, like, the whole episode over? Well, before I use my notes, hold on. Before I use my notes, we didn't really talk much about the ending. We just talked about how, like, crazy it was.
Sure.
But let's talk about, what it did for the show and like, what it is as an ending for a cartoon in general.
Right.
Like, I guess I will start off just, like, as in, they debated for a long time how they wanted to do this. They're like, is that, like, we can't do this, right? It's way too far. And they eventually settled with we're going to, like, it has to be, Cartman cannot be the one that pulls the trigger.
Okay.
Like, they wanted to still pull themselves back that far.
Okay.
Like, even as fucked up as this is, they were like, if he doesn't pull the trigger, then people will not, care as much.
Okay.
But, just what do you think of it as a insanely drastic ending for a cartoon?
Like, it definitely plays off of the South Park formula in that I could have 100% seen this going up to the point where, like, Scott, pulls one on Cartman, but then Cartman does something, like, spooks him or something, and he wobbles backwards and the pony bites his penis off.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I thought we were going. I thought it was going to be, like, okay, of course Cartman's plan didn't work, but, Scott's also didn't work for some reason involving Chef's Chili, and then we cap it off with, he lost his penis anyways.
Yeah. But, no, it goes way above and beyond. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's also...
I think the Looney Tunes ending also really, like, caps it with just how insane it is.
Yeah. It is also a murder in front of a big crowd, like an enormous crowd.
Yeah, it's the real technicality of, I didn't murder them, but I did tell this guy to shoot them.
And I guess Cartman was also right in the sense of, if Radiohead were to see Scott showing a moment of weakness, they would think he sucks.
Yeah.
Like, there was no secret twist there. He didn't, like, tell them anything else. They were there because they thought that Scott was going to die, and then they saw him being weak, and they dunked on him and left.
To be fair, did they know that was Scott? Or did they just see a child crying and were like, oh, well, look at this loser? It's either way, it's bad, but it is hilarious if that they didn't know that was Scott. It was like, we're crying because this kid has cancer in his ass, and then we're gonna go there and he's crying and we're gonna make fun of him.
Yeah.
I do like that idea. Or, if they were there to hear the whole conversation.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, Radiohead had to have not known what this episode was going to be. There's no way they filled him in on what this whole thing was. By the way, this episode was planned, they started production on this before the season even officially began production.
Okay.
And this was, production code 501, but had to be pushed back. This was, the one we talked about where they make one episode that they just sort of put in the bank, where, they come up with an idea and they're like, we can do that idea any time. It's not tied to any time relevancy, like this is. So they were like, okay, first idea for the season, Scott Tenorman must die. Eric's gonna, get messed with, and then he does something drastic in the end.
See, that feels so weird to me, because that feels like that is a distinct turning point. Like, it's gonna be real weird if you have episodes after this where everyone's cool with Cartman.
I mean, even after this happened, they were kind of just like, "Oh, I guess we shouldn't fuck with Cartman." But I mean, I think that's why we have the Looney Tunes end of like it's a cartoon, everything's gonna go back to normal at the end.
Sure.
But yeah, it is. When I say like they had a plan from the beginning, it is like we have the idea for the episode, and then they continue. Like as I said, they really struggle with how they wanted to end it with for a while.
Right.
Like they're like, oh, is this too much? Is that... not even like are they get or can we get away with this? Just like is this too much? Is this the wrong direction to be taking Cartman's character? But eventually they're like, no, this is probably the best thing that we could do.
All right.
Do you know what Shakespeare character Cartman is inspired by going forward from this episode forward?
Titus Andronicus?
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Like early on, Cartman's character, as I've said, has sort of fluctuated a lot between seasons 1 through 4.
Okay.
They were kind of, even through like, up till season 2, they're like, okay, we kind of got to hang on the character. Then season 3, they're like, okay, now we kind of see what we're doing with Cartman. Season 4, they're like, okay, now we see. Now season 5, I think, is where they've solidified. There's no more like, okay, now we found another. I think they have finally, and they have said too, this is where Cartman is fully solidified. Okay. Season 2, they're like, midway through season 1, season 2 is where Cartman's voice is solidified, I think. Season 3 is where his like mannerisms and catchphrases are solidified. And in season 4, his sort of dickheadishness starts to come out a bit more.
Okay.
And I think all of that coalesces here in this episode. Okay, so when Kenny died in this episode, because he was laughing so hard at the video, that again, how did he even film that video? But regardless, Kenny's ghost like comes out and is still laughing. That was not in the original airing of the episode.
Really?
The very first airing of the episode did not have that. The immediate Saturday, they added that in.
Okay.
That's a joke. Yeah. There's so much stuff like that I'm realizing through the trivia, like the counter in the It's a Fan thing where it was the same thing where first episode airing didn't have the counter. Immediately next weekend and everything after that had the counter there. So in the original idea for the episode, when Cartman was doing the whole mad scientist thing of writing down all these plans and it was going to be him holding it up and then cut to it, and it was just him looking at the picture, or like the picture of the pony that we saw that he draw earlier in the episode. They used it for a different part of the thing where he gets the kids all around and everything, but that picture was supposed to be used there in that moment for him to be that's when he came up with the plan for the pony biting the dick and everything. Which I do think that would have been a fantastic joke there, but this version of the episode I think works much better.
Yeah.
Also, this episode definitely noticed the animation being a lot better.
Yeah.
We got the new I think at the very beginning of season 5, starting with episode 1, we're using Maya now. But this is the first episode where it's really felt noticeable.
Yeah.
And even last episode, I would say, had a very wonky thing going on with the mouths, where it felt like they were like, oh, we can use more mouth, shapes now, because we don't have to, it's not as annoying to have to do it, I assume. But then they realized when they were into the episode, it didn't look very good at all. Did you notice that last episode?
Something felt weird, but it wasn't enough for me to, bring it up. Whereas, in this episode, the head movements and stuff were immediately noticeable.
Yeah. I don't know if it was just me or not, but yeah, last episode to me, the mouths felt like there were so many more things there, which made it just feel really off. Whereas I think their normal style of, it's about like every other syllable the mouth does. Because you really can't get all the mouths in something like this, or all the shapes.
Yeah, and I mean, even when someone is talking normally, their mouth does not actually change shape with every single word.
Yeah, exactly. They said that this was very noticeable, having the whole Radiohead here trying to get them to voice act this episode, and it was very reminiscent of back in season 2 when we had all the guest stars on, or late season 1 where we had all the musical stars on, and it's so hard to get the musical people to voice act, because even when they come on to guest star stuff, they're coming on as live action, which is much different than a cartoon where you need to exaggerate your speaking and be more, you need to be more emotional, more over the top. And so they kept having to be like, no, you need to emote more. You need to emote more. It's like, why are we having to tell Radiohead to emote more? And it is Radiohead, I think, did a much better job in this episode than most of the other musicians they have on.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name right now. And Barbara Streisand, the one who fought her.
Oh,
What is his name? Why can't I remember this right now? You're so much more of a fan of him. Robert Smith. That's what it was. Robert Smith. But his voice acting was not good at all. It was so bad. It was so lazy. Yeah. And I feel like most of their musicians are like that. But yeah, these guys did a good job. But that is because they kept having to be like, vote more, please. You have to vote more. And they're saying this like the lead singer.
I mean, I guess at this point they're also like more used to working with guests, so they're more willing to like actually just tell them like, "Hey guys, you gotta emote more," as opposed to being like starstruck.
And it's wild that it was Matt Stone of the two that was mainly saying that to them. It's wild. He seems like the more reserved one usually.
Right.
It is interesting, like, some people have, the classic, like, there's fucking college lectures about South Park, which is always so weird to me. But people, discussing this episode, analyzing this episode as a unintended satirization of Looney Tunes and those sort of style of cartoons.
Okay.
Of, like, the sort of cat and mouse game with Tom and Jerry, or of the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. The extreme violence in those cartoons that gets played off as, ha ha ha, and then, everything's fine the next episode. And, very similar sort of thing, but just because it's, the normal style of the show, it's done so differently, or because of the way it's animated, when it's like the act is the same, it's just the way that it's animated is, what changes the feeling you get from it.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that's a really interesting idea to it. I mean, it's very Shakespearean. I mean, that's what it was inspired by as well. But all right, that's basically all my notes for it. But I just want to, this episode, there's going to be episodes that are, that top this on a lot of people's like favorite episode lists and stuff like that.
Okay.
But this is definitely the episode people think of when they think of South Park. This is when people talk like the greatest episode of South Park.
Okay.
People put that up there. This is the episode that in the comments people will constantly been like, 3 episodes away, 2 episodes away. Oh, we're almost there.
Oh, boy.
And I feel like I know what the next big countdown is going to be. But there's a lot of like big milestone episodes of like, this was a big noticeable point in the series. This episode as well, I will be coming back to a lot of like things that I noticed in this episode that start with Cartman's character that I never noticed.
Okay.
There's one big thing that in particular that is really interesting that has only been brought. He only said the line this episode. You wouldn't recognize it because it's not a common thing yet.
Okay.
But he said something this episode that then becomes a common thing with him that is very connected to Scott Tenorman as a person. And explains why he holds such hate for that afterwards.
Okay.
Is all I'll say. We'll get to that. We'll get to that later. I'll bring it up when we get to that.
All right.
But yeah. Aside from that, I think that's it for this episode.
Yeah. It's a big one.
It's a big one, and we got plenty of more great ones down the line too.
Oh, I'm excited.
See you guys for the next one. Until then, get the fuck out of here.